Hello, we are a group of nurse practitioners and midwives that would like to present to you breast cancer and early mammography screening. The authors of this presentation are Jenkins Lawhorn, Mari Wiles, Victoria Cashin, Julie Percival, and Nicole Wilson. Just as a warning, this presentation does have some graphic content, so we hope that you find this presentation helpful.
Trish has been my coworker for the past 5 years. We have stood side by side while welcoming new life into this world and while watching it fade away from babies born too soon. When you work closely with someone in this capacity, you have the rare opportunity to see someone when they are truly vulnerable, allowing you to see who they truly are and letting you catch a glimpse of their soul. Trish shows compassion and empathy to those she cares for in a way that I find unique from my other coworkers. But this story just isn't about Trish. It's about Cammie, her wife and partner of 22 years. It's about their two sons, Gavin, 13, and Bryce, 11, their friends, their families, and even their coworkers. This January, Cammie scheduled a mammogram after being urged by a coworker to schedule one since she was now 52 and hadn't had one since she was 45. Cammie had a family history of other types of cancer, but not breast cancer, and felt like she was low risk after having breastfed both of her sons for over a year. She didn't have any changes with her breasts, didn't feel any lumps. Cammie says she would have probably put the mammogram off for several more years if it wasn't for her friend's strong urging to schedule the scan. Cammie went in on a Friday for her mammogram and was immediately scheduled for a diagnostic ultrasound and biopsy the next Monday, since they had seen something that looked a little suspicious. Knowing that this happens sometimes, Cammie and Trish weren't all that worried. But that Wednesday, when she received a diagnosis of grade 3 breast cancer, that she had a 8-centimeter mass on her left breast, Cammie stayed home from work to process that diagnosis and share the news with her family and friends. She said that from very early on that she had a "we're gonna beat it" attitude and was even able to use humor to cope with her diagnosis. She told her mother, "Hey, I wanted to lose 10 pounds anyway." Cammie works at a smaller company and didn't have long-term disability insurance, but her coworkers were very supportive. They helped Cammie pick her surgeon, created a GoFundMe page, and sold bracelets with the inscription "Cammie Conquers Cancer" and Jeremiah 30:17 to raise money to help with medical expenses. Trish says she doesn't know what they would have done without the support because she took FMLA for 3 weeks and Cammie was out for 5 weeks recovering from surgery. Cammie feels that in many ways her diagnosis was harder for Trish and her family than it was for her. She approached her cancer with a fighter mentality and was really only focused on getting through it. Whereas Trish struggled with being Cammie's support person, her rock, and of course grappled with the thoughts of losing Cammie to cancer. Trish recalls feeling worried when Cammie's double mastectomy was scheduled a month later. She feared that cancer would continue to spread, and by the time Cammie had surgery, Trish feared it would be too late. Trish attempted to turn to her close friend group for support, but instead found them to be distant and in many ways cruel due to an unrelated issue that had occurred, unbeknownst to Trish within the group. Then 2 weeks before Cammie's surgery, their oldest son, Gavin, fell in PE class and fractured both of his elbows. He needed to have 2 casts and became completely dependent on his family to assist him with his activities of daily living and hygiene. At this time, this felt like just one more devastating blow to an already struggling family. But now, looking back, both Cami and Trish feel like this was an accident that allowed them a much needed distraction and helped them pass the time while waiting for Cami's surgery and bringing them closer together as a family. During this time, their youngest son, Bryce, told Cami, "Mom, this is a really hard thing we're going through, but there is going to be something really great on the other side." When she heard this, she felt like she and Trish had done a good job raising their children and teaching them how to navigate life's difficulties. On the day of surgery, Trish sat in the waiting room with Cami's parents and a friend from work. She brought a book to read and something to crochet, but she said all she could do was sit there and stare at the wall. Trish recalls that the surgeon came to the waiting room and said, "We've removed the left breast." She knew that that was what they were there to do, but she said it felt so surreal to hear him say it out loud. She said waiting felt like an eternity. It lasted around 8 hours with an additional hour with Cami in the recovery room. At long last, Trish and Cami were back together. But for Cami, it felt like no time had passed, and she was somewhat shocked that the entire day had gone by.
Breast cancer is the fifth leading cause of death in women globally, with 1 in 8 U.S. women diagnosed in their lifetime. Screening mammography is the only method known to decrease related deaths and can detect most cancers before other symptoms appear. Screening mammography is recommended every 2 years for women 50 to 74 years of age and according to personal risk factors for women 40 to 49 years of age. Warning signs of breast cancer include a lump, knot, or thickening, swelling, warmth, redness, or darkening, change in the breast size or shape, dimpling or puckering of the skin, an itchy, scaly, sore, or rash on the nipple, protraction of the nipple or breast, sudden onset nipple discharge, or new and continuous pain in one area of the breast. In 2018, Kentucky Governor Matt Bevin proposed eliminating breast cancer funding that assists low-income women to obtain screening. We encourage women to obtain mammography screening according to the recommended guidelines and ask that you contact Governor Bevin and urge him to support breast cancer screening by maintaining funding.
After the surgery, Cami felt very confident that the cancer was gone, having been told by the surgeon that the tissue edges and sentinel nodes were clear. Cami chose breast reconstruction using tissue expanders, which will be followed by implants. Cami and Trish are also exploring options for nipple reconstruction, such as 3D areola tattooing. She followed up with a radiologist about additional treatment recommendations, but with a 5% chance of the cancer recurring without radiation treatment, she decided not to pursue it. When Cami returned to work, she said she wanted to shout her experience from a bullhorn from the desk. She also got in a little trouble in showing off her new scars. She wanted everyone to know that mammography saved her life. She was very open with everyone who asked about her experience and happily shared pictures of her journey as well. She feels like her coworker was an angel in her life, and she feels like she realistically may have put off her mammogram for several more years without her friend urging her to go. She feels like it is her duty to pay this blessing forward, to spread the message about the importance of having regular mammograms to all. Cami wants other women to know that it's okay to be scared, but stresses the importance of having a positive attitude and feels that your mindset plays an important role in your body's ability to heal itself. Cami said this experience really made her reflect on what is important to her and has made her more fully understand how precious life is. Prior to her diagnosis, the family mantra when dealing with difficult times was, "We have many things to be grateful for: our sight, our hearing, our ability to walk, and most importantly, our health." She admits this experience shook that mantra for a time, but is now more important to them than ever before.
We want to thank Cami and Trish for their willingness to share their story and personal pictures to raise awareness about the importance of mammography screening for early detection of breast cancer. We're wishing you the best on your upcoming surgery and recovery. Thank you so much for sharing your family's story.